We're on a mission from God.
Welcome to the Bleacher Brothers Tour. My name is Father Casey Cole. This is Father Tito Serrano.
That's right.
We are the Bleacher Brothers, and we come in a pretty cool place here.
Yeah, sunny Minnesota.
Sunny Minnesota. Usually doesn't go together. It's definitely windy.
A little breezy, yeah.
Uh-oh, my only weakness. How did you know? We're at a pretty cool place here, and yeah.
This turned out to be really cool, surprisingly cool. I don't think either one of us expected this. A good time.
We've had a wonderful time. What we've decided, and when I say we, I mean me at this very moment, is we're not going to rank the stadiums we're in anymore. We're going to let it sit for a week.
Okay.
You know, we don't want to be biased. I think it's very easy to be biased. So check next week for ranking this, but we'll get to some rankings. We got 5 stadiums to rank.
Yep.
We're also going to do a new segment. Can't wait for that. And we got a little game time. But before that, let's get some highlights. So Father Tito, once again, some pretty cool highlights here.
Yes, we did. Yes, yes, we do. These, I think the fact that we got to throw out the first pitch together was the best part.
That was pretty cool. Yeah, not me to you, not you the mascots, but at the same time, and we both threw, you know, mostly strikes.
It was pretty good. It was still a little high, but you want to miss high, you don't want to miss low.
I liked the guy who caught it, was one of the ball boys, or the ground scorer, and he said, oh, you threw it much harder than I was expecting. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. He's like, no, it's great. Usually they lollipop it. It's like, I wanted to get it there.
Yeah, we got to chat with one of the ball boys beforehand. They were really great guys, really great.
Yeah, so that was definitely a highlight. You know, we'll get to the stadium rankings, but one of the cool highlights was really just the atmosphere at the Brewers Stadium. Playing cornhole outside, everybody was there to have a good time.
Yeah, there was that.
So much tailgating.
There was tailgating going on, which, you know, we've wanted to participate in. We got to do a little bit of it in Pittsburgh, got to go to some tailgates and chat with people, which was great. But that was the first time we really saw people tailgating. We got to join them. We joined with the group right next to us. They were awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, but we had great masses this weekend. We celebrated in DC. 5, 6 different masses we got to celebrate.
5 masses,
couple different communities. Went to a young adult group, which was fantastic.
Yep.
It's really just great to see the church lived in different ways. I mean, high church, low church, we have been all over the map.
We have. And I think the important thing is that there's a desire to go to Mass, right? Whether you prefer the high church, whether you prefer lower church, it's the desire to go and receive communion. It's all about the Eucharist.
Sure.
Right? I mean, don't get me wrong, we want to do things well, but the Eucharist is the pivotal point.
Yeah, and helping bring the connection here. So we got these cathedrals, we got these places where people understand tradition and teamwork and community, all great church values, but it's lacking one thing, so that's what we're trying to bring.
That's right.
Very cool. Well, that has been your highlights.
What time is it? Game time!
But Tito, it's been a little while since we did some game time, and we found a fun thing to do at the stadium. Let's show them how it went. So as you know, Father Tito and I are on this tour around the country, and we've been trying to test out the ballparks, and tonight we're going to have a little competition here, a friendly competition. Who can throw the ball the hardest?
So what's your prediction?
I mean, I got a bum arm at this point. I'm wearing a habit, so I think anything in the 70s I'm going to be happy with. What about you? What are you going to get?
I've got 2 predictions. I'm going to lose, and I'm going to hurt my arm doing it.
Let it loose, dude.
Here we go, 75. All right, that hurt. Here we go, 78 to beat. 61. All right, that's a warm-up. That's a warm-up. Come on, Father. Oh, that's a strike, though. 67. All right, here we go. Get a little throw. 66. All right, here we go. 65.
Oh,
Oh.
well. Well, that's pretty much what I expected, and I'm not surprised. Yeah.
Got the guns right here.
He throws more often.
Yeah, a couple days later, just not a great idea, but at least I won.
You did win. Congratulations. You know,
It's all that matters,
I
right?
accept my defeat with graciousness. I will beat you next time.
I love the guys. Like, come on, father!
Yeah.
What you can't see from the camera is that there were all these people starting to gather around because
Yeah.
they were fascinated by what was going on.
They really were. I mean, here's these two guys with robes, you know, trying to do the high pitch. And, you know, mine wasn't as fast as yours, but
Yeah.
definitely not at the slow end either. There were some people who could have thrown a little harder.
I love it. It's the same thing with my students. There's maybe a 13-year-old kid
Yeah.
who was very surprised, like, whoa,
Yeah.
you threw it 2 miles an hour faster than me.
Right.
It's like, kid, I'm 33 years old.
Right.
Of course I did.
We've been throwing the ball more than you.
I should have thrown it much harder than you, but he just it couldn't make sense to him.
Right. Right.
So yeah, fun time, game time. Let us know what we should do next. What sort of competitions should Father Tito and I go for?
Should we do play pool? Should we go back to bowling? Regular bowling this time? 10 pin? What should we do?
Ooh.
Hit us up.
Yeah, maybe some mini golf.
Ooh, there we go. That'll be
We
fun.
did play another game of cornhole right here
We did.
at the game. Father Tito kicked my butt.
Lots of butt kicked all over the field.
Yeah, we're finding the longer it is, the more he is attuned to that. So I don't know.
Which is
different
weird.
styles.
You would think more accuracy up close, but whatever.
Yeah, so that has been your game time. So introducing a new segment today. We're going to do a little underrated, overrated.
All right.
I was thinking about this last night. We were here at the stadium. They had a fireworks show, and I thought, fireworks, overrated. Yeah, not the coolest thing in the world. I don't know why people love them. The music was cool.
The music was cool. I will say this is actually one of the better
Yeah.
fireworks shows that we've seen.
Sure, but I just think in general,
Yeah.
overrated. So
In
that's
ge-
why let's do this category. You can
Yeah.
pick anything in the world, and it's not is it good or bad.
Right.
Is it overrated or underrated? And so I'm going to start here.
Okay.
I'm going to throw it out to you.
Okay.
Dogs.
Dogs.
Uh-huh.
Underrated.
Underrated.
Yeah, and here's why.
Uh-huh.
I understand that there are plenty of small dog breeds out there that just shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
Some large dog breeds out there that maybe shouldn't exist either, but in general, the dog breeds that people kind of have bad associations with, especially the larger ones, those are just bad owners.
Sure.
I think dogs in general are underrated because of bad owners.
Despite being all over my TikTok, they
Yeah.
get a lot of press. Everyone loves dog. I think I'm going underrated as well, and it's because of one of Malcolm Gladwell's podcasts.
Okay.
Where he showed that dog sniffers don't just find drugs; they can help with finding cancer
Yep.
and people's anxiety, and like they could save people's lives. Pretty awesome.
They could do instantaneous COVID detection.
Yes. Like statistically better than some of our tests. Dogs could figure it out. I don't know how,
And instantly. That's the thing. It's crazy. I mean, no waiting a couple of days or even 15
Yeah.
minutes. Instant.
but it's not a scientific method, so we're a little,
We're hesitant.
admittedly,
Yeah.
hesitant toward that. All right, so dogs, underrated. What
Dogs, definitely underrated, yes.
do you got? Okay.
So I'm going to go with, for you, sausages. Underrated or overrated?
Sausages. Oh, I'm going underrated as well because they get like sixth billing. Everyone thinks chicken, you think steak, you think maybe fish. Sausage is so down there, but you know, mix that with some pasta,
Yeah.
incredible. Put it on a bun, incredible. I just don't think it's utilized as much. It's not good for you, so I say it's very fatty, but still delicious.
Okay, all right. So, I mean, I'm going to agree with you on that one. I think sausage, I love sausage. We both love sausage. We've had more sausage on this trip than hot dogs, so
Yeah.
we maybe should have rethought the hot dog count. But yeah, I'm going to go with underrated as well because of how versatile it is. And
Okay.
because of like every country has their own style of it, and I enjoy pretty much all of them.
Well, it's summer, so I got one more for you here.
Okay?
The beach.
Oh, you know I'm from Florida, right?
Well, it's not if it's good or bad.
Yeah.
It has a rating based on people's minds. Is
Yep.
that deserved? Is it underrated, overrated?
I think it's underrated. First of all, people who don't grow up around the beach don't really know how to utilize the beach.
Sure.
Right? Everyone sees it as like, oh yeah, we go and we hang out all day. They don't bring cover. They don't, bring grills for cooking out
Sure.
and stuff like that. Going to the beach is a lot like going to the park. You have to come prepared. But people don't do that, so they end up having bad experiences or they get sand everywhere. They don't know what they're doing. Underrated.
So what you're saying is it's not good enough on its own unless you bring a lot of distractions and protections.
No.
That's what I'm hearing. I'm going overrated. Not because it's bad. I love the beach too. But I think in people's minds it's like the greatest thing in the world and it's the only thing they can think of for vacation. go to a lake, go to the mountains,
no.
go to the plains, go on a road trip. There are so many other underrated ways of going vacation. The beach is awesome, but be a little more creative.
I don't like lakes. I like the ocean.
Give me a lake any day.
So I have one that I think we're going to disagree on here.
Hopefully.
Home brewing.
Home brewing.
Overrated or underrated?
Overrated.
I knew it.
Overrated because it's a lot of work and it's kind of in now and everyone likes to do it and it's cool and you think like you're a better person. But you know what? I can go to like a bar and get craft brews and have like 70 flavors really easily.
So I'm going to go with underrated, and here's why.
Yeah.
Because I always enjoyed beer, right? But I didn't really appreciate how hard it is to make a really good beer.
Yeah.
And when I started homebrewing, I was like, wow, it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of skill, both
and
instinctual time.
I go to the fridge, I want a beer, I don't want to wait 6 weeks.
And so because of that, there was a time in my life where I would have very easily said, yeah, I'll have a Bud Light, I'll have a Coors, I'll have a Miller. Sorry to drop those big names, but I'm not going to bother with that anymore because there isn't as much care invested in it as some other craft brews. If I'm going to spend the money, I'm going to go on a craft brew.
All right, well, that has been your underrated, overrated. Tell us how you think we did. And finally, what I think everyone's been looking for, it's become very popular. It's the #1 question we ask. What's your favorite park? We're here for Rank 'em.
That's right.
So we've got a lot of ground to catch up here. We
do.
got 5 parks. We're holding off Minnesota until next week.
Right.
Let's just run through them as best we can. We've been talking about them before, and I think that's why our numbers are pretty similar.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see a little more contention here because I don't know what he's thinking.
Okay.
Let's just right onto it. So first one we got Boston.
Boston.
Design, creativity.
So design and creativity, I'm going to go with a 9. And
Ooh, I thought he was gonna go 10.
No, I want to.
Yeah.
I want to, but the reality is there are certain drawbacks to it, which we'll get into later, but I'm going to go with a 9.
Yeah, so I love the design. I love the classic nature. I'm gonna give it a 9 as well. It would be a 10 for the Green Monster and some of the classic look, but the seats are too close together. There's a lot of overhang, not a lot of food. I mean, it is definitely, you have some trade-offs there.
There are some bad seats in the house, and that's the unfortunate thing.
Holes right in front of seats.
Yeah.
So not getting a perfect score, but man, you get a good seat, fantastic.
It's as close to perfect as you can get.
Fan experience?
Fan experience, similarly, I'm going to go with a 9.
Okay.
And the reason being, it doesn't offer a lot of the extra stuff, the frills in terms of going to a baseball game that a lot of other places do, but just going to Fenway Park is part of the experience. Going to that historical site is why people go. So if you're going to a baseball game for entertainment and they don't have extra things to do, that's a bummer. But you don't go to Fenway Park for entertainment. You go to Fenway Park to go to a historic baseball park and see a baseball game.
Yeah, I would say similarly, I think it was a great experience. I don't want to take points away from where it should be because what I really loved about it was the ambiance.
Okay.
And so I'm not sure about the fan experience. There wasn't a great, huge museum that I thought could have been really cool or lots of little statues. I mean, there was a little bit. I think a solid 8 is fine.
Okay.
Because it's got the history. The park is itself a history, but there wasn't a whole lot of extra stuff.
Right.
Ambiance, for
10.
that, I can't give it 10.
I will.
I'm going to give it a 9 because right around Boston was great. I think the skyline wasn't perfect. There wasn't a lot, but iconic sit-go and the area. We had a lot of fun even an hour after the game just walking around.
Yeah. It was built before that skyline existed.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to take away points for that. It's a great, beautiful stadium to go to. It's got the Green Monster. I love the surrounding area, and I do love the city of Boston.
Yeah.
So I'm giving it a 10.
I don't know the math right here, but that's definitely our highest so far.
Yeah, it's the only one I've given a 10 to. So.
Oof, man, and he yelled at me for giving a 10 before. Going down a little south, we're going back to New York, but for the Mets,
Yep.
It was okay.
Yeah.
I thought the design was fine. I loved center field. There was a lot of interesting things. There was an Iron Man challenge. There's a kids zone. It's decent food all around. I said there was no creativity in the food. It was just higher quality food everywhere we went.
I would agree with that.
But the design, I don't think anything memorable. There was that right field deck, center field, but I mean, solid, I don't know, 7 or 8 convinced me.
Well, it's got the old apple from the old stadium outside, which I really appreciate at the entrance. It's got that Shea Bridge in reference to Shea Stadium.
Sure.
So it's got some touchstones to it.
So some fan experience, I'm thinking just design. I can't remember what I gave others, so I'm sure I'm going to mess this up. Let's give it a 7.
Okay. I mean, I consider those things part of the design. I'm okay with it being a 7, though.
Okay, I'm definitely giving it an 8 for fan experience because of the things you said, because they're the extra things people can go see. I loved the little museum there.
Yep.
And that was where the apple was. You got to see the trophies, so solid 8 for me.
Yeah, I definitely liked it as a fan experience. I just had a more positive experience there than I did in Yankee Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
Which surprises me because Yankees are just such an institutional part of the game.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm going to give it an 8.
Ambiance, 3. I hate to say it, it's low. We counted every 90 to 120 seconds, a plane went directly over top of us, and it was loud.
It bothered him. It didn't bother me.
It's bad. And then just the surrounding area. I mean, it's built on a dump. I mean, it's just terrible.
So, I mean, we've been listening to this book, that's all about the Mets and how Metsy the Mets are. I think the stadium leans into who they are as a Mets organization. They are lovable underdogs, the team that, are very good but lose with just grandeur.
Yeah.
I think it leans into that. I love it. I'm going to give it a 6.
Your rating system makes no sense. I love that it's terrible.
I love that it's terrible.
But that's... All right, so he's giving it a 4 because he said it's terrible.
I'll give it a 5.
Okay. So moving south far, we get to Washington. I felt a similar thing. I mean, it's cool. It's the modern stadiums. The ambiance was the best part for me, but the design, I don't know. What do you think of the design?
It was okay.
Center field was great again.
Yeah,
Big port
and that's
for me.
kind of, we've noticed that a lot for a lot of the stadiums. But it was positive, but it doesn't really stand out in my mind.
Yeah, that's what I'm struggling to remember. So let's just jump right to ambiance because I loved the left field.
Okay.
And you can see the apartment buildings.
Yeah.
I loved the things around it. Downtown was right there. The Metro line was right there.
It's very
Bars and
pleasing to
stuff.
look at.
Yeah.
Nothing very, very distinct about it.
Yeah. I'm going to give it an 8 for ambiance, so skipping all the way to there.
Okay. So for ambiance, a strong 7 for me.
Strong 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not quite an 8, but I did like the area and stuff like that. It was nice. People can look right into the stadium from their apartments, unlike certain other stadiums in New York. But yeah.
Fan experience, I think 7. Again, nothing super memorable. They've got the President's Race, which is fun.
Yep.
They've got a little history around. I don't know. It was okay.
Fan experience. There were a lot of cool people there, like young people. We've noticed this a lot, but that particularly stuck out to me as like a place with a lot of young people.
Sure,
we got approached by a lot of them.
Yep.
That was really cool. So positive experience in general, I would say a 7 too.
And I would say 7 for design. I mean, for me, it was very similar to Philadelphia for some reason, except it didn't have a giant Budweiser sign blocking center field.
Oh my gosh.
It had all the good things that Philly has without some of the bad things. So I'd say 7.
Agreed. So in general, very good. Nothing that makes it stand out.
Okay, which is kind of how I feel about the White Sox. So we went to Chicago just for our first leg. Food, probably the best we've had.
Yeah.
Right, so food was fantastic. Some fun things in the outfield, but nothing really historical, nothing really significant about it. Design, 6.
Design, 6. It could be.
We're getting rained on.
Hold off for just a minute.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to cover these things now. And just like that, the sun is out, and we're probably overexposed and warm again. But here we are.
Okay.
We were talking about Chicago.
We were talking about Chicago. We were talking about the design.
Design is fine. I mean, I think...
It's fine.
What are you saying? Solid 6s or 7s?
Yeah, 7.
Let's say 7 each.
Yeah.
Why don't you say 7, I'll say 6, just to kind of get that 13.
There you go.
Now, the fan experience, I've got a bone to pick. Just like I had a bone to pick with Philadelphia. You had tickets for one level or everything else.
Right.
And a lot of stadiums, they don't allow anyone to get down to right around the fields. And you got the exclusivity, that's fine.
I get that.
But if you had any other ticket but the bottom level, you couldn't even get on the whole first section, which meant no food, which meant no close to the stadium. You had to go all the way up. And the only way up there was like this 5-story circular oh my gosh.
It was a long trek to get up. And that really bothered me because when I used to go, when I lived in Chicago and used to go to those games, we'd pay $7, which were upper level seating. We'd sit up there for a little bit, go down, get some beers, walk around, stand in the outfield,
the
watch
amenities,
for a little bit, get some different food, and then go back up. Yeah. We always started and finished the game up top. It's not like we stayed down there the whole time, but
if you had a 300 or 400 level ticket here, you couldn't even go to center field.
Exactly.
You couldn't go there. You couldn't do the pitch thing that we did. You couldn't get the food out there. I've not seen that at any other stadium.
No.
For that reason, fan experience has to be pretty low.
I agree. I'm gonna give it,
because it had a lot of great things if you had those tickets. So I'm gonna say 4.
That's exactly what I'm going to give it, which might be the lowest fan experience score we've given something.
Yeah, it's a shame. And they didn't have a ton of history because the White Sox don't have history you want to know about, Black Sox. But no, they've got great history. I don't know. It was a missed opportunity.
I agree. It didn't set a welcoming environment. You know, it's in an area where there's a lot of people who can't afford really great tickets. So the fact that you could just get into the stadium for cheap, go down low, do some of the fun things, and then go back to your seats was a big amenity.
Yeah.
And they took that away from them.
So great food, great amenities if you buy the higher ticket.
Yeah.
All those things get negated because you don't get to experience them. And then ambiance also pretty low. It's right on 90, 94. The red line's there, but sketchy. There's nothing around. It's just a big parking lot.
Yep.
4. I mean.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4 too.
And actually, it had the skyline of Chicago, which is gorgeous and beautiful.
Except it was facing the wrong way.
It was facing the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So
they just had not even 90 degrees, like maybe 30 degrees, 45 degrees.
Yeah, just so stupid.
Yep.
Yeah. So sorry, White Sox. We had a fun time there. You made us sit through 97-degree weather until the 12th inning, but you know, we had a fun time.
Yeah, it was a fun finish to the game.
Yep. And finally, probably the opposite of this was a nice cool day in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Maybe the best fan experience we've had. We show up and the parking lot is already half filled and everyone is tailgating.
Yeah, I loved it. You know, we pulled in. We were the first truck or car in our lot, in our section. Yeah. And we're like, oh, wow, this is like, we're the first ones. And then people just started rolling right behind us.
We were worried, like, oh, we're not going to see anyone. Oh, why'd they put us in this empty lot? Within 10 minutes, the whole lot was filled.
It was filled, and people had stuff up. They had grills going.
Oh, yeah. We got a brat for free. We beat some people in cornhole. It was a fun time. So
that was the best game we'd played.
And they had where the old stadium was. There was a new little thing, you know, little smaller field that you could go and see.
A wiffle ball park kind of a thing.
They had the big slides. Just great. A lot of people on the field before where we got to throw out the first pitch. So fan experience, 9.
I'm going to give it a 9 too.
9.
There's also lots of little hidden gems for you to find. So there's
the best beer there too. The only place we've went to, they're the Brewers, that has a whole section of craft brews I've never heard of.
I mean, there's a section right over there that I'm looking at, but we'll get to that next week.
Yeah, this is on a different level. So 9 for that. Level. Design wasn't as great for me. I think I'm going to go 7. I mean, it's all around the same. These are all kind of average parts. They're interesting, but it opened up okay, but I think the back was all empty. All of center field was claustrophobic. It was narrow. There was nothing there.
Yeah, so I do like...
and the corners were empty too.
I do like a retractable roof.
Oh, sure. Very
because
cool.
You don't have to worry about rainouts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you have to factor in, you know, like, okay, you've got an enclosed space now. What do you do with that?
Yeah.
And I don't think they factored that in very well.
It was weird. There was empty spots with no restaurants.
Yep.
The corners were all weird.
It was very oddly shaped.
It was cool to see from the field, like left field with the glass, all that. So that's why it's not low. I mean, it's still a 7.
No, it's still a pretty good score.
Yeah.
But it could have been better. They could have made some better use of those empty spaces.
Yeah, and ambiance, I mean, there's nothing really around it. Downtown's kind of a few minutes away, kind of cool. I guess you could say the tailgating is part of the ambiance.
I think so.
But the view is cool. I did like the left field and the glass, and I did like how it opened up. So, I don't know. These are all made up numbers at this point because we haven't thought about them. But I'm saying 7.
I'm gonna give it an 8 because lots of stadiums have parking lots around them. Mm-hmm. This is one of the few where people really tailgated and really took advantage of it. And I'm going to count that as part of the ambiance. Plus, driving into it, it was a little bit on the outskirts of town. Nice hills, nice trees around it. I liked it.
Yeah, so design wasn't perfect.
Right.
But they put a lot of effort into the fan experience. So go see a ball game there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so tell us how you think we did. Those are your rankums.
Mail time. The mail's here. Come on. Bye, guys.
All right, well, it is time for some mail time. We just got a few questions here. What is the most bizarre thing that has happened at a baseball game while wearing your habit?
I'm thinking of something recently.
Uh-huh.
But we're not going to talk about that.
We're not going to talk about that. You know who you are.
I'm gonna go with the kid who called us Baby Yoda.
Hey, it's Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
At least give me Obi-Wan.
Right. We got plenty of that. We got plenty of Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
But Baby Yoda. That was for me the most bizarre. This ain't baseball related, but why do you all hate cats so much? Like, who hurt you?
The cats hurt me. Quite literally, because they're jerks and they scratch people, but also I'm allergic to them.
I love how everyone who insists I'm going to love their cat says I'm going to love it because it's like a dog.
Yeah.
Have a dog.
Exactly. And if you have mice problem, then just get an exterminator.
Well, this is the thing for real, though. I don't know how to read cats very well. Dogs, I understand their body language. I understand like their cues where like I'm not happy right now. Cats, you will be petting them. They're like, ooh, this is nice, this is nice. Now I scratch you. I don't get
I'll kill you.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Why can girls serve at the altar?
Yeah.
What's the difference between an altar server and a deacon or priest? This is an important question. We're getting into some theological stuff here.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is altar servers, as altar boys sometimes we call it. They're acolytes.
Okay.
And so they serve at the altar. But there's no ordination there. There's no special class. You don't receive any laying on of hands. And so anyone who is baptized can serve at the altar, as long as their bishop allows it.
Exactly. As far as the other things, there is ordination. There's actually a distinction between priestly ordination and diaconate ordination. And, you know, this has been said, some people find it troubling, but there is no impediment to women becoming ordained deacons. You know, whether...
No fundamental, like
no
currently
fundamental.
the law says you can't.
Exactly. So a Pope could say, you know what, we're going to allow this again, and we need to figure out how to integrate this, and that would be acceptable.
It's something that we're investigating right now. There's no real answer, but it is important to make a distinction, as the church does, that priests are ordained into the priesthood of Christ.
Right.
So his identity as priest, whereas deacons are ordained into the ministry of Christ.
Right.
And so no deacon has any of the priesthood, can't do laying on of hands, can't do those sacraments. They can only assist at the side of the bishop.
Right. A deacon can do sacramentally what any layperson can do, really.
Right.
Is Jesus black?
Is Jesus black? Yeah, I'm gonna say those distinctions of race are very modern understandings.
Yep.
So culturally influenced. You know, there's biological things, but we're talking about race. It's a social construct that comes later. Is he African? No, I think we understand him as Middle Eastern.
Right.
Is he white? Even that's a weird construct, but no.
Right.
But I'm gonna go with all the above. No.
Yeah, it's really difficult to say because we have this conception of Egyptians looking at Egypt now, which is actually filled with people who emigrated there over many, many centuries from the Middle East. So, you know, even our current conception of Egyptians isn't quite accurate to what ancient Egyptians were like, right? So it's difficult to say.
Yeah.
He was a person of color. That we can say with confidence.
In our modern definition of whatever that means.
Exactly. That we can say with some fair amount of confidence because of the region that he came from and stuff like that. But, you know, as to what Jesus' exact skin tone was, we don't actually know.
No. We know that he was human. We know that he was a male.
Yeah,
we know that he grew up in a particular Jewish culture, and so these are particular things.
Yeah.
But we have to understand what those meant 2,000 years ago are different than what we mean by them today.
Exactly. So we can approximate and we can hypothesize, but we cannot say conclusively that
he definitely wasn't a white American in the
Correct.
21st century with all of our values. Yes. So thank you for that bizarre question. Helpful.
Yeah.
And that's been your mail time. And that has been your episode number, what, 6 are we up to?
Yeah, I think so. This is number 6.
6,200 miles, I think. We had
my
no
gosh.
hot dogs this week, I don't think, but a handful of sausages.
We did.
A lot of sausages.
A lot of bratwurst.
Haven't been on the scale for a while.
I'm not getting on it.
Nope. 3 wins to 2 in cornhole. Anything else we're supposed to keep track of? Our predictions? Oh, home teams.
Home teams.
We've been to, what, 17 games now.
We have.
I think that we are 11-5.
11-5.
Yeah.
We're having a rough go of it right now, but I have faith that, you know, home teams will pull through.
Yeah, well, anyway, tell us what you'd like to see. Any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments, and we will catch you next week from... Where are we going?
We're going to Kansas City next and a few other places.
Yeah, we'll be filming in Chicago with a very, very special trip along the way. You're not going to want to miss this.
That's right.
Peace.